spent my whole damn life in the city. Anywhere I go, DC's coming with me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. I can go for broke, but the capital is in me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. Anywhere I go, DC's coming with me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. I can go for broke, but the capital is in me.
Football is back. This is District Divided DC Sports Podcast, more specifically a Washington Commanders podcast. I am Amit. That is K-Dot. We got a game on Sunday, 4:25 p.m. on Fox. I cannot wait. I know K-Dot cannot wait. We're going to preview that game. We're going to talk about the Sam Cosmi extension. We're going to talk about a guy that went on a hinge date and is now fired. We're going to talk about it all. We're going to give our predictions, comment mailbag, as we always do after the pod. But before we begin this episode, guys, if you please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, comment as you always do, and K-Dot.
Get hype, motherfucker! It's time. We've been waiting. We've been waiting for this moment. It is here. Football is upon us. It is here. We're recording what? Thursday night before the Thursday night game? I know, trust me, I know. I'm going to get to the 3 words. I know you guys want to hear the 3 words. It's okay. But until we get to those 3 words, just get hype. It's here. The football season. The gods have blessed us again. 2024 NFL season. Ooh.
That feels good.
Oh, it feels good, right? It feels good. Are you ready? Is everybody ready? I know I'm going to be ready. I'm getting all the wings and everything again. I should show you guys a little bit of preview of what I'm going to be into. What I'm going to be into come Sunday.
Look at us. Hey, look at us.
Look at us. Huh? Who would have thought?
Not me.
With the
wings, got Major Tutty with me. We're just doing it up. And I know my man Amit is hype because I got a little video preview of what he's going to be up to too. Doing them lines, baby. Now, before the
K-Dot,
football
say the
starts,
fucking words.
before the football starts, you got to do something for us to get us even more hype. You got to do it. You got to do the 3 words. You guys know the 3 words. Say it with me. Say it with me. Can you say it with me, Amit?
I can say it with you.
Share
this shit.
That's right.
Share this shit. Very well done, K-Dot. And for those that don't know, I never know what's coming in that segment other than share this shit. Well done there, K-Dot. I greatly appreciate it. Before we get to the game, let's talk about our former VP of content real quick. I'll just knock that out. His name, Rael Enteen. He went on a hinge date with someone from O'Keefe Media. And I guess first, second date, the guy really wanted some action. I don't know what, but he's just started saying all sorts of stuff. Apparently, we're all mouth breathers, as it turns out, and said some other things. Some of it was, in my opinion, like, oh, okay, it doesn't sound like the worst thing. And then you get to the next thing. You're like, okay, you know what? This isn't very good. K-Dot, your reaction real quick. He has been terminated by the team.
I'll start with saying this. I'm not going to address whether or not I think he was right or wrong.
Well, okay, so there's that. Maybe that's an after the pod thing.
I'm just going to leave that alone for right now, okay? That being said, he's an asshole.
Yes.
O'Keefe Media that caught him are a bunch of assholes.
I agree.
And this is another guy hired under the Snyder administration that seems like a Snyderino. Like, that's what it is. He's yacht bitch incarnate. He's the guy that looks at us as nothing but a number, right? VP of content. It's all fucking algorithmic data to this jackass anyway. So I'm sorry, but like, as far as the Commanders and what it is that we're talking about from top down approach, I'm glad he's gone. Fuck off, dude. Like, and to think, like, dude, come on, just from like on a man-to-man level, like, if you think talking like that makes you cool the opposite sex, bro, you got some learning to do.
Yeah, it was a tough look. And I felt obvious too. Hey, what'd you say again about like the fans again and stuff like that?
Did you hear the nugget that I heard? Maybe I took it out of context, whatever, because I could barely listen to this entire fucking thing, especially with the James O'Keefe constantly fucking interrupting.
Yeah.
But she said you work for, or there's a bunch of idiots or stupid people,
Right.
except for your former boss.
Yes.
So this is the dude that admired Mr. Yapish himself. Okay, like that's all I'm saying.
That's a good point.
Come on, that's all you need to know about.
Well, it was in reference to like his direct superior, not Yapish.
Whatever.
But
all
still,
fine,
that's
fucking
somebody
Snyder.
from I'm done talking about
Good
the guy.
riddance.
He's gone. Thanks for the time. Appreciate it. All right, cool. Let's move on. Let's talk about a guy that's going to be on the field that just got locked up on a new 4-year deal, $74 million. A huge congratulations to Sam Cosmi, who has earned this, who plays like a commander. He's exactly what Dan Quinn's looking for, what Adam Peters is looking for. K-Dot, think the guy is worth every penny. He had an unbelievable season last season when the rest of the offensive line caught a lot of flack. It must be noted, Sam Cosmi was great, and I'm really glad he's here for the next 4 years.
Yeah, that's the thing is like, say from like some of the highlight reels that I've been seeing on Twitter over the course of the last week, or at least since he signed the extension, where everybody's kind of singling out his play on the offensive line. It's showing what a dominant force he was in very opportune times. Like, it's just, I am so glad we don't have a Brandon Sheriff situation or a Trent Williams situation. We just get the guys that are good locked up for a long time. Like, this dude's a mainstay on the offensive line. He's been an absolute stud. And I hope he's here for a very, very long time. Look, Washington has a history of having offensive linemen that are fucking great, right? We got great dudes that come through here, and I want him to be one of those dudes we look upon in those legends and in the Ring of Honor come 10, 15 years from now.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. He'll be playing alongside Tyler Biadasz, who's going to be a center on the left-hand side of him, and on the right-hand side, we've got Andrew Wiley. Of course, the other two, Nick Allegretti, and then we'll see about Brandon Coleman. He has been practicing in full. We'll get to that in just a moment. Or Cornelius Lucas starting at left tackle. But that's the offensive line, and that's Sam Cosmi's extension. A very huge congratulations to you, sir. And please keep the franchise safe as we begin on this journey. So, again, we got a football game on Sunday. Commanders at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And in order to give you guys full context, we need to, of course, walk through the injury report real quick, because that's going to help you figure out who's playing, who's not. We had mentioned Brandon Coleman, for example. So he was a full participant in practice. Cleveland Farrell, Fowler, Daron, Payne, and Trent Scott, all full. So they're looking like they're ready to roll. Marcus Mariota popped up. Thought that was kind of interesting. So maybe he's inactive. Maybe Jeff Driscoll, who people wanted to be the number 2, is backing up Jayden on Sunday. And then Johnny Newton switching to a did not practice. However, it says rest on it. So I'm a bit curious as to what that means. If we were to then look over at Tampa Bay.
Oh, I'll add real quick. The remember me saying very much when we were talking about the 53-man roster, the Driscoll was pretty much a lot. And I think it was solidly because Mariota's just not ready. So like that's, I think this is just a continuation of what we've probably seen since the preseason. He's just banged up.
Fair enough. And so that's the Commander side of things. Let's go ahead and look at the Buccaneers side of things. A much longer list. I'm not going to go through every single name. The 2 I will go through, maybe 3 actually. The 2 I will go through to begin with are Ernest Brown and Logan Hall. Now, Logan Hall is listed as a starter for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Ernest Brown is a backup on the other side of that defensive line, but both currently trending towards not playing, which is a big deal. And then you got Chase McLaughlin, their kicker, who did not practice, was listed as full today. But if you look at the beat reporters for Tampa Bay, they're like, he didn't really kick. He was just sort of on the field. So if that's what full participant means, it's just something to look out for. So that's the context for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's the context for the Washington Commanders. And so why don't we go ahead and begin with the Commanders offense featuring number 2 overall pick, the hopeful franchise QB, the jersey I wear, K-Dot, the number 5 here, Jayden Daniels, against this Buccaneers defense, who last season 5th in points allowed. So it's a pretty good defense. In terms of yards, though, they were 20th. Pass defense was 28th last season, but run defense, very good in 4th. And that was all, of course, last season. K-Dot, entering this matchup, we got Kliff Kingsbury as our offensive coordinator. They got Casey Rogers and Larry Foote as co-defensive coordinators. What are you looking for here?
It's a test. I mean, also, where do you get your rankings from?
I get them from team rankings and then also NFL.com and stuff like that. You can get that.
Yeah, well, fuck them. I'm a Football Reference guy, and according to them, they were the 23rd ranked defense, and on as far as passing went 29th. I'll take every single one of them goddamn rankings. All right,
instead of 20th and 20th. All right, cool. We'll take the worst ones. Yes, let's do that.
But the thing is, like, why does that matter? It's because of the Bucs defensive starters, 10 out of 11 are returning this season, right? So, like, there are, like you said, as far as what they've done, as far as the rush defense, they've been pretty good, top 5 in the league. But the pass defense has left a lot to be desired. But overall, I mean, you're talking about a team that was just in the playoffs last year. They beat Philadelphia in the wild card round. They lost to Detroit in the divisional round. They lost to Detroit only by 8 points. So, I mean, these ain't anybody you can just like look off or say, hey, who gives a shit about, right? But if we're looking at specifically the Washington offense, we don't know what it is that's going to happen on the Washington offense, right? So the mainly thing that I'm looking at is like the Buccaneers defense and what it is that I think they're going to stack up or where it is that I think that you're looking at some strengths that necessarily they have, which is like the defensive line. This is something that they've spent the last few years really, really spending high draft picks on, making sure that they had something, trying to build it. It's kind of like when we've talked about going into this season with Washington, as far as this being one of those years where like, hey, you get a lot of young dudes as far as your draft class. Like, are you building towards something? So the idea would be, can Tampa Bay with Todd Bowles make a leap as far as on the defensive thing? So they got guys like Yaya Diaby. Everybody's kind of circled him all training camp, all off season long. Had 7.5 sacks last year. He's a dude that everybody's kind of like, oh, wow, is that the breakout player? One of the edge rushers. Another dude, Joe Tryon Shionka. Another dude, 5 sacks. Another guy, young guys trying to make upstart, whatever. We'll see what it is they're doing. And then on the inside, of course, Vita Vea, and everybody fucking knows, big dude. He's had 5 sacks, and he's lined up next to Kalijah Cansey, who also has 4 sacks. All these guys, fairly young dudes that are trying to get better, and Todd Bowles is down as a defensive-minded guy. So if you look at that, you're knowing, okay, when you hear about that defensive line, you hear about their run ranking last year, what can the Commanders do up against that, right? Are we going to be able to sustain anything or get anything really going as far as the run game? We know that it looks like it's going to be something that Washington wants to have as a part of their identity. Can they get off to a fast start as far as that stuff goes? Who knows? As far as from the passing game standpoint, which I know everybody's more interested in because, all right, what is Jayden Daniels going to do, right? Look, there's one dude that you've got to circle on that defense. You got to make sure you're aware of him at all times. So that's Antoine Winfield Jr., who this last offseason became the highest paid safety in the NFL. Dude had 3 interceptions, which you're like, okay. But you know what else he had from safety? You know what he had?
5, 6 sacks. Yeah.
6 fucking sacks.
Yeah.
Once again, I don't know where you're getting your numbers from. If it's team rankings, I don't trust it. So
no, that was Pro Football Reference,
okay,
just to be clear.
Sure.
I'm everywhere, K-Dot.
6 sacks, 3 INTs. So this means like, look, Todd Bowles, he's already been saying it in the media the last week or so as we've been gearing up for this game. They know they're facing a rookie quarterback, and they're going to want to pin their ears back and come after him, right? So I think what you're going to look at is you have a defensive line that is coming along, making their way. What are they going to do as far as disguises from there? Is Antoine Winfield going to be coming off the edge, rushing up the middle? What's going to be going on? So I think the main matchup is like how that offensive line kind of matches up against the defense, and if they're going to be able to be clever enough to make sure the Winfield's not ruining their day the entire time.
It's an excellent point. So Antoine Winfield, I would say, is probably their best player on defense. And then you have Vita Vea, of course, who's a stalwart on the defensive line. That being said, what I would like to see, K-Dot, is a process, right? We talk about this year being a year 2. It's a test, to your point, to what you just said. What can the offense do against this type of defense? What can it do against the type of offense that we're about to talk about in a moment here? And for me, I want to see, can we run the ball? That's first and foremost, right? Because we've got Jayden Daniels. You want to be able to protect the guy. I know we want to see him light up the opposing defense, and he very well may in this very first game. But then I look at the context of the game, right? We had just looked at the injury report. Logan Hall trending towards not playing. Ernest Brown trending towards not playing. That gives them 4, maybe 5 healthy defensive linemen. And the way we played against the Miami Dolphins, I know we weren't showing a whole lot, but we saw that we can go quickly. If we can go quickly, and Todd Bowles expressed a bit of worry about this, that if we go quickly, they can't sub. If they cannot sub with those few defensive linemen, can you, maybe the first couple of runs don't go so well, but after that, can you assert your will on these guys and everything opens up? Makes it easy for a rookie quarterback. Makes it easy for a Zach Ertz to get open on a play action, right? That's the stuff I'm looking for. Can we get back to traditional football for this franchise, right? Where you run, and off of that, you can do all sorts of stuff with Terry, with Diami, with Luke, with Zach. So I'm curious to see how quickly we play, because based on what I'm seeing and based on what we saw a little bit of this preseason and the heat that they're talking about in Tampa Bay, it's going to be humid. It might rain a little bit. It's going to be in the 80s. Why not try and gas these guys? That might be your best avenue towards winning, K-Dot. What do you think of that?
You might gas yourself.
You might, but like, this is where it's a process.
I fucking hate playing in Florida early in the season. It sucks ass.
Sorry, that's what I see.
I think if I were to sum up the Commanders offense versus the Buccaneers defense, knowing that like the Bucs are just bringing back pretty much like 10 out of 11 guys. They're bringing back all these guys they had last year. You're right as far as the depth and looking at the injury report. Maybe there is something there as far as gassing them. But I think for Commanders fans, like looking at this game and the Commanders offense, like what are they going to be? Who's going to dictate this game as far as this matchup goes? It felt like there were way too many times last year that we were on the back burner. We were behind.
Yes.
We were in these situations where they would force us into these situations where we're playing to whatever it is the defense is going to dictate it to us. Can they establish early on in this game, we're going to do what we want to do, and you have to try to stop us? Like, it feels as though it's been a little while since Washington has felt that way. And I think that's what we're looking for as far as like, look, man, wins and losses, everything else. We know this year is going to be a process. This game, more than any other game, we have no fucking clue, right? No idea. You can't base it off of anything. We didn't really see much in preseason as far as what their offense was going to do, right? Now we're seeing the full complement of everybody. Jayden has looked great as far as in the practice that I've seen as far as some of the throws and everything that he's making. Like, what are we going to be? I have no idea. There's so many questions to be asked, right? What is the Kliff Kingsbury offense going to look like? What is its identity going to be? What is the Anthony Lynn of it all as far as the rushing game? Are we going to be more balanced as far as our attack? Is Jayden's running going to be really part of this game? Like, what are they doing? So, I mean, I think that's one of those things where it's like, to me, the advantage will always, in my opinion, to some degree, sway Washington's way when you have a rookie quarterback that's as dynamic as Jayden is. Because, like us, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have no fucking idea what's coming as far as the Washington Commanders go.
Yeah,
right?
no, it's an excellent point. Yeah, so we're going to end up seeing what happens. All K-Dot and I can do with this from what we've seen so far, what the coaching staff has told us so far, is speculate. I suspect that we're going to try and be as balanced as possible, because that is something that Kliff has mentioned in the past. Then K-Dot mentions Anthony Lynn being over here to help out. He's known for his run game. He knows Austin Eckler, for example. This coaching staff is high on Brian Robinson Jr. So do we use those guys? Do we use Jayden? I think we should for this game. I don't think you necessarily do for every single game, but I think for this one in particular, I think it's a good idea, and it helps your rookie quarterback out. So even if things don't go very well, at least he's not taking as many hits potentially. Right. So just something to think about. Any final thoughts before we flip the script, talk about the Commanders defense?
Just excited to see it, man.
I'm so excited. Yeah, no, same here. So why don't we go ahead and flip the script and talk about the other side of the ball, which is going to be this Commanders defense, which is, I mean, K-Dot, brand new to the max against this Buccaneers offense. So Buccaneers offense, of course, you'll know the name Baker Mayfield, who now has and he had a nice year last year, over 4,000 yards passing, 28 touchdowns in the regular season, I believe, and then the 10 picks. So he played a year where his back was against the wall. He needed it for his career, ends up signing a nice deal this offseason because of it. Right. So Baker Mayfield is the quarterback over there. They do have a new offensive coordinator in Liam Cohen, who has worked with the Rams in the past. He's had a couple different stints at Kentucky. University of Kentucky is the offensive coordinator over there, quarterbacks guy, and worked with Baker when Baker had that brief stint with the LA Rams. So there's some familiarity over there. Just wanted to note that, but it is his first year being the coordinator here. Then there's Mike Evans. Then there's Chris Godwin. There's Rachaad White in the backfield. So there's talent on this team. And on our side, this is going to be the first time we see Bobby Wagner play a snap for us, which is going to be exciting. Then we got Frankie Luvu. We got Mikey Sanders still. We got Johnny Newton potentially. We'll see about the rest and not practicing, whether he plays or not. But we got a lot of new guys. Clint Farrell, Dante Fowler, you name it. It's new. It's exciting. K-Dot, what are you looking forward to here?
Once again, what do we look like, right? So like if you're looking at Tampa Bay coming out of last year going into this year, like all right, I don't think I can even muster up the energy to even say it. Who's your sleeper team, your side piece team?
That would be the Carolina Panthers, led by head coach Dave Canales.
Yeah, that's so stupid. The Dave Canales being the quarterback whisperer.
It's true.
What is the aspect of him no longer being there for Baker mean?
Right.
Does Baker look like he's looked at a few stints over the course of the last few years, which is not what he looked like last year, right? When he's had his back was up against the wall and he kind of performed, or he outperformed what it is that anybody really expected out of him. And I know I'm rooting for Baker. I know you're rooting for Baker there.
Yeah,
too.
I like Baker.
But if we're looking at the Bucs offense itself, offensively, as far as the passing game went, middle of the pack, I think what was it, 17th
That's
in
what
passing yards. But rushing, 32nd.
There we go.
And the idea that there was a team out there that did worse in rushing than Washington did, it's insane.
We didn't even run. So what did they do?
What the fuck is going on down there, right? So, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, can these linebackers and everything of Washington continue to bottle up as far as what that run game is? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? The thing that everybody's really curious about when it comes to Washington is that secondary. And sure enough, Mike Evans or Chris Godwin, as far as the secondary that we saw last year, they get burnt. They get the shit burnt out of them, right? But if there's any strength as far as us goes, would be what we consider as far as the defensive line, right? And if you look at the defensive line, Baker Mayfield also got sacked 40 times last year. And if you look at it 40 times, of course, it was not the 69 to Sam Howell got, because nobody fucking did that. But the 40 sacks was 6th worst in the league. Their offensive line is young. They have talent in certain parts. Yeah. Tristan Wirfs is a guy. They just drafted a center in Graham Barton, guy that I've kind of liked. But once again, just a rookie. The idea that him lining up at center for Baker Mayfield, when you have who we have in those trenches there in that middle, hell of a matchup. And then on that right tackle side, where they got Luke Godecki. Godecki. I don't know, whatever.
The floor is yours.
Luke G.
They got Luke G.
Yeah, average. So the so as
and
far
Ben
as that goes,
Bredesen, who we know him from the Giants days where he was a backup. Anyway, sorry, go ahead. Some of us do.
Well, so I mean, as far as that goes, can the defensive line really generate something as far as that offensive line goes? Can they pressure Baker, right? The last thing we want to see as far as Washington goes, especially with the defensive backfield, that like even it sounds like preseason was kind of like, oh boy, this might look like it might take a while to gel. Can they do what they need to do is have the rest of the defense helping them out as best as possible? And the best way to do that, get in Baker's face, get them off rhythm, do what you got to do as far as that goes, and get that running game completely bottled up. If Baker has to drop back a ton and we're actually generating pressure, and you got a guy like Newton can go and we get that rotation going, I'm really curious to see what the defensive ends and the pressures look like as far as us goes, especially on that right-hand side against Luke G.
Right. And you know, this one's pretty interesting because Liam Cohen, again, the offensive coordinator for the Bucs now, who's new to the building, he has talked about having an emphasis on the run game. He's well aware that they were 32nd last season. And I think it's important to him that they set the tone to start their season and show that they can be multi-dimensional. It's not just going to be the bake show with Mike Evans over the top and stuff like that. Now, granted, if we were playing last year's Bucs against last year's Commanders, pretty good strategy to just air it out because there was nothing we could do. Everyone was wide open. Right. So how do the corners look? How does Michael Davis look against Mike Evans, if that's the matchup, or Benjamin St-Juste against a Jalen McMillan, who they drafted in the 3rd round this past offseason in the draft? And then there's Chris Godwin, who it sounds like he's going to move to the slot. That's an excellent first test for Mike Sanders still. Like, how does he do against a guy that's as good as Chris Godwin has been in his career playing in the slot once again? And talking about the run, this is where you paid Bobby Wagner, you paid Frankie Luvu, you've got your guys in the interior. Take that away. And I know it sounds scary based on last year. You do still want to make a team one-dimensional when you can. You just need to handle that dimension better than we did last year, which was almost historically bad. Definitely historically bad from this franchise's perspective. but that's where you hope that Joe Whitt Jr., that Jason Simmons, I keep mentioning those two specifically, one the D coordinator, but the other the pass game coordinator on defense, just because of how bad last offseason was. Curious to see what it looks like. And I am curious, K-Dot, how many snaps Tyler Owens gets, if any, because he was so good in the preseason. I wonder if it's just like, hey, it is a process. It is a test. What if we do rotate a little bit and just sort of see how he does? Because he looked great. And so I'm just curious to see if he plays. I'm not necessarily saying he should. I'm just curious.
There was a clip. There's a YouTube page of Tyler Owens' highlights from preseason. And it's really weird. It's like you're watching the video and it starts off, you're like, ooh, that's a good play. That's a good play. And then there's just stuff in the middle. You're just kind of like, I don't remember seeing that. That doesn't look good. It was,
so it's like every play.
Well, it was supposed to be highlights, but it was at least I think that's what it was advertised at. But one of the first comments was like, "This is the first highlight page where I feel less energetic about a guy after watching."
Oh boy, okay.
But then it ends great. And you're like, "Oh, I'm back." Weird shit. I just wanted to share.
No, that's fine. I appreciate that context because all I can remember, like the rose tinted glasses, man, Tyler Owens or something
looks
else.
good.
Huh?
He pops off screen, right?
Yeah.
Then it was just like, wow, he led with his shoulder on that tackle and completely missed.
Right.
It was like, yeah, I'm interested to see that too. I mean, the Sanders against Godwin is going to be something that I'm really, really looking at because everybody keeps hyping up the Sanders thing. And then, the point that you made as far as that, look, I don't give a fuck what they say as far as what they're trying to do with the rushing attack. A lot of these dudes are from last year. They were basically playing pretty much the same Tampa Bay team that we did last year outside of coaching being different, which again, 30-second run offense against arguably on paper from a linebacker standpoint, a top 2, top 3 in the league run defense as far as the linebackers go. When you look at Frankie Luvu and you look at Bobby Wagner. So to me is going to be, they better stop the fucking run. If this is a sieve sort of game, once again, there's no panic regardless of whatever happens in week 1 outside of injury, God forbid. But it's week 1. And with the way the training camp and preseason goes, these guys are really getting their first real contact. A lot of these dudes are getting their first real contact. I think Baker Mayfield threw the ball like 3 times all of preseason.
Right.
So once again, not going to be any grand indictments on anybody, but I will say I won't be happy if they can't stop Rachaad White and that running attack.
Oh boy.
With just what it is that kind of matches up on paper.
Yeah. And one other thing, and you had mentioned it, Graham Barton, who's a guy you liked in the draft. Mm-hmm. He is still a rookie playing center. Mm-hmm. Right. So that center quarterback relationship is new. I recognize we also have the same one, but at least we have the veteran center and a quarterback who, based on whomever you speak to, seems like a veteran already. But it's the same thing. I recognize that. Graham Barton being a center against Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Fedarian Mathis, and hopefully Johnny Newton, knock on wood, that he plays. This may be a time to check and see how he does if Frankie Luvu's blitzing interior as well, for example. Right? Because a couple of the nice plays that Frankie Luvu made for the Panthers last season was an interior blitz. He can rush off the edge too, but having him come right down the middle and seeing how the rookie handles that, I would be curious to see, and how Baker handles that. It could also force Baker to throw quicker. Maybe does a favor for your corners. It depends on who you're sending, right? Because if you send some safeties and then all of a sudden it's Mike Evans one-on-one, I wouldn't want to see that. So hopefully you help out there. But I think it can help. And that's where Mike Sanders still is such a big piece if he turns out to be as good as people are saying. Because then if the ball's coming out quicker, all of a sudden that's an incompletion, maybe even a pick, or at least a very quick wrap up at minimum. And you can see what you have over there. So I'm excited for this matchup, maybe even as excited as I am about seeing Jayden Daniels, of course. But this defense is brand new. And so I'm curious to see how the communication goes, how Bobby looks, in our jersey, which I'm excited for. So yeah, any final thoughts here before we move on to the prediction, K-Dot?
Brother, I am so hyped. So like
it feels good, dude. Yeah.
It's been so long. I'm excited. I know that you guys are going to see this on Friday, but I'm excited for even Thursday Night Football and Friday Night Football. I'm just excited the football's back.
Right.
I'm excited to start betting again. I'm excited all about that shit. But the thing that really put me over the edge, as far as my excitement level being like this months-long journey of trying to be medium about everything, was this clip right here. He'll have that red shit pouring out your head any fucking time, any fucking make him bleed is the motto that I live by. If you fuck with me, it's a must you die. Like, this is my shit. That song, C Murder. I mean, you deserve to be in jail, but free C Murder. The like to hear them playing that's my hype up shit. If you in the comments, you know what I'm talking about. It's like being at 07 when Knuck If You Buck comes on, and you're like, oh shit, I need to fight somebody, right? Like, that is in that upper echelon. Ante up. Like, they're playing stuff from my generation. Like, they're playing that shit. Like, they got me. They ready to fuck dudes up. And that's what I want to see. This has got to be that swarming shit, right? We talk about what the identity is going to be, right? Arrive violently. Like, this is the shit we've been waiting for. Look, I know I'm gonna have to take some chill pills, like some Xanax, whatever the fuck. Definitely not what you do, but like okay. I need to bring it down, because I'm telling you, man, I'm feeling it, man. I'm feeling it.
It's as exciting as it gets. Brand new organization, basically, and it starts in Tampa, 4:25 p.m. So we're gonna get to the prediction now. How is this game going to go? And as you can see on the right-hand side, there's an Ummet, there's a K-Dot. So we're going to be updating the standings as we go.
Yep.
K-Dot, the line. Tampa Bay is favored by 3.5 at their place. And the over-under is 42.5. So as always, man, it feels good to say this part again. I need a score. I need a winner. And I need a player of the game.
All right, just a little house cleaning. It was 7 wins that I got to last week. I listened to the entire episode, and I went back through, and I have a chart now of all of our predictions before and after the season.
Okay.
So I'll be keeping track of everything. Okay.
So
and because nothing's really changed since we did that episode,
well, right.
I'm still picking a victory for the Washington Commanders. I think this game could be sloppy as shit. I just think it's going to be sloppy. I don't like the fact that Baker Mayfield hasn't played as much as he needed to, in my opinion, in the preseason, even though it was his 3 throws, 3 for 3. Good job. Whatever. The Dave Canales part not being, I just need to see Baker sustain shit. I just don't think it's going to look all that great. I don't think they'll be able to manage the rushing attack against Washington. And I also think from a Washington standpoint, you got a rookie quarterback. There's going to be some shit that just doesn't look right. There's going to be some 3 outs. So you're just kind of like, oh, God damn it. But then I believe in the big playability of both these teams. Okay. Us when that comes at secondary, them when it comes to our secondary sucks. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin should be able to get something over the top, right? And as far as us, there's that Jayden Daniels special sauce on something. I could see Terry doing something too. So final score doesn't sound too crazy, but I'm going 23-20. Commanders win. I think what ends up, when I say sloppy, does not mean low scoring. Sloppy meaning, oh shit, that was a busted coverage. Somebody just scored.
Sure. So it's funny you said 23-20, because that is the exact same score I have just for Tampa Bay, because we have so much turnover on the roster. I expect there to be some communication issues, including maybe a busted coverage, until we prove otherwise, K-Dot. And you know how much I love Joe Whitt Jr. and you know how much I love the coaching staff. I got to see it first. Mm-hmm. And so my player of the game is Mike Evans, because Baker's got a connection with Mike Evans where, I mean, Mike looked great last season. Baker looked great last season. I think they go back to the bread and butter at what works. He has enough time to get to him. I think Mike Evans is player of the game. So 23-20 Tampa Bay. If we end up running the ball as much as I hope we do, I could easily see us winning this game and actually being one of those darling teams that people talk about on Monday morning being like, man, hey, the Commanders, they look pretty good, huh? I could see it. I just think there's a lot of turnover. And so therefore, Tampa Bay 23-20. I would love to be 0-1 come next week when we do this.
You'd love to be 0-1?
Me personally, right?
Okay.
And the Commanders be 1-0, right?
What was that?
I was looking at why would I want the Commanders to lose?
I was just like, what the fuck is going on? You that in the bag for Carolina?
I would love to be wrong. Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to say player of the game. Stats, Terry McLaurin. In our hearts, Cade York.
That would be nice. That'd be a nice little, because the way I get to 23-20, by the way, is both guys miss an extra point, but Chase ends up hitting a field goal for them in the fourth quarter. It's 23-20. So that's how I'm getting to that. But both guys miss an extra point. Hopefully not.
We'll see. I'm just excited to watch it. I'm just so excited.
I'm excited to watch it, and I may just bet on it. And there is, K-Dot, a bet of the week.
There is, and I'm telling you, when you're doing what it is that you're doing come that game, betting is just a wonderful combination.
So why don't you go ahead? K-Dot's whipped up a bet of the week for you guys. And so he's going to now share it. The floor is yours, K-Dot.
All right. So I'm going to be using FanDuel for this guy right here. Okay. Now I was thinking about, all right, do we want to do like a little bit of a parlay action? Do we want to do something as far as, but what I'm actually going to do is one of our infrequent commenters, as far as Mr. X, sent me I don't want to try the accent. Fuck him. The aspect of, he sent me a parlay, but it was a little steep as far as what it is that I was looking at. So I was like, you know what? Is there any way that we could scale this back down just a little bit? Give us just a little bit of action. I think makes a little more sense. And I think I have it right here. I'm just pulling it up. I was doing what I could to buy myself a little bit of time, but you know, I'm going to pick a 3-legger, gives us plus 104 odds on FanDuel. Okay. And I'm going to pick all Commanders players for this thing.
Love it.
So I'm looking at Jayden Daniels, 175 yards passing.
All right.
Terry McLaurin, 40 yards receiving.
Okay.
And Jayden Daniels, 25 yards rushing.
Seems entirely doable. Yeah.
I think so too. So I'm going to be placing money on that. And if you want to place money too, make sure you go to the link in our description to either sign up via FanDuel or DraftKings. Either one. DraftKings is now available in Washington, D.C. They're not paying me, but I wish they would. And what I want is some bonus bets, bitches. So help a brother out. I need to make some money. It's the season. I need to pay for Christmas gifts. I ain't got no running water in this house. Yeah, I told you about that, right? I still ain't got no running water in this goddamn house, okay? My ass is outside collecting rainwater buckets to flush my toilets. I need money.
You heard the man. You heard the man. So I guess check the description, which I was not aware I was going to be updating for that. Now I am.
Every week.
Check the description to help brother out. Listen, so the bet of the week I like. I want to also add in that this is a beautiful time of the year where Vegas doesn't quite know what to expect from certain players, but sometimes you get a little bit of an edge. Zach Ertz over under yards is 24. This is a game where I think he goes over, and they adjust it later. Vegas goes, okay, cool, we got to adjust because there's a lot of Ben Sinnott talk, stuff like that. But if you've been following this team like we have, Jayden loves Zach Ertz. We didn't see him this preseason, but Jayden loves Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz talks about feeling rejuvenated, loves being under Kliff Kingsbury, how he feels 4 years younger. This is a good time to bet on Zach Ertz over 24.5. If you want to parlay it with a touchdown, you're welcome to. I think the odds are plus 540. But honestly, Zach Ertz anytime touchdown is plus 475. I think it's a good value bet this week if you're looking for something with slightly higher odds there. So
yeah, dude, that's just my bet of the week. If you don't think I got action all over the place, so like, yeah, if you want bet MGM, take this parlay minus 110. You got a player to either throw or rush for a touchdown of Jayden Daniels. Just got to have one. Just one touchdown from Jayden, either throw or pass. It's pretty good. As well as 40 yards from Brian Robinson. That gives you minus 110. Then
that's amazing.
It's great shit. Then if you want to look at futures, I got futures for you too.
Go ahead.
Jayden Daniels, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Just put some money on it.
A good value bet.
Just put a few dollars on it. You know, if you go on Caesars, Jayden Daniels for Offensive Rookie of the Year is plus 500. Get in there.
You really are everywhere.
Yeah, it's your only limitation is that shitty city. I'm sorry, Washington, in which you live.
And who we rep.
They play in Landover.
Yeah, that's fair. And they practice it out. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm just saying, Look, I got a little action. I got Patrick Mahomes MVP, as well as Lamar Jackson MVP. little hedging and stuff. And then I love my favorite pick, my favorite futures bet that I've placed so far. The one that I feel the most confident about is the exact order of the NFC South, which gave me plus 1,000. Falcons, Bucs, Panthers, Saints. I know he ain't betting on it, but you can bet on it and trust me.
It's a bad bet. I'm telling you. I think you can get the Panthers to win the division for plus 1,000 right now.
You can also light your money on fire.
This is true. So that was the bet of the week, the many, many bets of the week, brought to you over there by KDOT and the many sports books that he's looking at and participating with. And so that's the bet of the week. We move over to the comment mailbag where we feature.
Where are you going with this? See,
Nikki.
I was gonna make if Nikki. I know a Nikki. I also know money. I like money. You like money too, but I know what you like to do with money. Roll it up and then.
Is that
working for you? You can.
Comment mailbag time, motherfuckers. The district divided, ain't got time for no suckers. Spread the word, get in line. OGs and new G's, it's your time. And spread the gospel, cause this shit is divine. Yeah.
Shout out Nikki. Shout out K-Dot for those edits. Incredible. We've got a small
Edits. It's just what I was
small saying. Okay, they're edits. A small comment mailbag here. It's all Commanders fans. So shout out. We begin with Ridge Where You Helmet At, who goes, best of luck to my brother, Ridgeway You Helmet At, who got traded to the New Orleans Saints. John Ridgeway did, including a 7th rounder from our side over to the 6th. So that was Ridge Where You Helmet At. Wishing luck to Ridge Where You Helmet. Okay. That's the first comment. Kate, your reaction, you seem to have a certain feeling about it.
When I hear his name, I'm just kind of like, eh.
Okay. Then we go to Big Papa Grizzly, who's got
co-eds.
Who's got a couple. Beginning with Warriors. That's the first one.
Come out and play.
That's the first one from Big Papa Grizzly. The second one, Sam, the practice squad playboy. That's the nickname there. Hartman is in the house. Get your chin up off the floor and wring out your girl's panties because you can look but don't touch. Hashtag he's a sexy boy.
Don't touch him. No touchy. I am realizing that, like, I'm wearing.
Yeah, I was
very
thinking about bringing that up. Yeah.
Sam, you like being choked, bud? No, I'm sure.
We quickly go to the next Big Papa Grizzly comment, which
Big
goes,
Papa.
I want to give a shout out to the Busch Light Bandit, Taylor Heineke, for getting signed to my side piece team, the LA Chargers. It's going to be Taylor time in LA. I know LA's hoping it won't be because they got Justin Herbert, but man, that'll be exciting. Him under Jim Harbaugh, handing the ball off to Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins, and occasionally making a throw to Lad McConkey or Joshua Palmer would be pretty exciting to watch, K-Dot. Taylor Heineke to the LA Chargers.
You really like talking about men under other men this episode. I don't know. I don't get it. Beyond that, the Chargers are just a team I root for. I fucking love those guys. And I mean, if you listen to our prediction episode, I've got a good feeling. It only gets better with Taylor Heineke being there. Look, Taylor, kind of like James O'Keefe. Never really a fan of your political leanings, but I like you, bud. Not like James O'Keefe. I don't like James O'Keefe.
I was going to say, it was interesting, but yeah, no, Taylor's that dude. Yeah, the political leanings aside, that dude. We love Taylor Heineke over here. We go over to Blood Clot. Shout out. Oh, gee. I don't think the Jets will win the division. In fact, I have them third because although they look great on paper, there is some toxicity in that locker room. The team hasn't rallied around A-Rod as a leader. All you have seen is that video footage of Rodgers and Garrett Wilson arguing on the sidelines. They don't like each other. I also think there is a good chance he gets injured again this season. And if that happens, it all unravels in a big way, and A-Rod will go on another ayahuasca vision quest. And that is the comment from Blood Clot. OG. K-Dot, would you like to start?
Trust me, I got a long history of criticizing Aaron Rodgers, to varying degrees of success or absolute embarrassment. But, look, if there was a bet right now that I could place on does Aaron Rodgers start every game this season, I wouldn't. I'd say no.
Yeah. I predicted he'd get hurt for a few games.
Like injury, ayahuasca, it's election year. Like, who knows? Crazy shit. So, like, it's there's no telling with him, right? But it's one of those things where, like, I agree with you in the sense of the camaraderie, and there is, like, even the good vibes last year when they were on Hard Knocks felt kind of toxic in the sense of the savior complex they were kind of instilling when it came to Aaron, right? And that you could feel the air get completely let out of the room as soon as he got hurt. It was like they gave up immediately. They were like, hey,
right,
this doesn't mean anything. I think that them having receivers that are established in Garrett Wilson already is something that's going to save him compared to what it is that you see in Green Bay. I talk about what it is that Devontae Adams took a few years to get started, and now everybody can arguably say he's the best receiver, at least top 3 receiver in the league, up until last year and dealing with Aiden O'Connell, whatever fuck, right? But if you look at Green Bay's right now, like, you look at those receivers they got in the room, everybody's like, oh, they're pretty good. Most of them were here when Aaron. He just didn't trust him or throw to him. But right. I think with Garrett Wilson, I don't think that's going to be an issue for him. And plus, look, bottom line when it comes to the Jets, the only thing you got to – Aaron Rodgers just existing.
This is the main
helps
point.
Breece Hall what they need to do offensively. Like, that's it.
I mean, K-Dot, they won 7 games
right
last year with Zach Wilson.
Right. And
now you put – a Hall of Famer under center who, and Blood Clot, look, I love you, man, but I disagree with this. Hasn't rallied around A-Rod as a leader. It seems like a lot of them do rally around A-Rod as a leader. The thing I truly disagree with is Rodgers and Garrett Wilson not liking each other. I could guarantee you, after what Garrett Wilson's been through so far in his career, he loves Aaron Rodgers. The man can put the ball wherever he needs to. I think the second time they were caught arguing, it was a bit of trolling. But that's also where you do it. It's practice before the season. We even talked about it with the Commanders. You want to see the stuff before the season so that once the season comes around, you're good to go. And I think these guys are going to rock and roll. The reason I have the Jets finishing second and not first is because I think Aaron gets hurt. I think they lose a couple games that maybe they shouldn't. And it allows my division winner, the Miami Dolphins, to be able to get just enough wins to win the division. But I like the Jets when Aaron's healthy, and they've improved the offensive line. I like the Jets this year to do some damage. So I disagree, but we'll see what happens. This is the beauty of football season. Make your predictions now. I love it.
The other part about this that, like, even if you want to give someone that Aaron's going to get hurt, which is not a given and nobody's rooting for it, Tyrod Taylor is an upgrade.
That's the other aspect of it. I do think he can win a game or two because he's still not Zach Wilson.
Right.
Well, who all did they beat last season with that? Like, they beat Houston. They beat the living daylights out of Houston. Everyone loves them this year, for example. They played the Chiefs close. Like, we're bad. Did they beat San Francisco? I don't even remember.
I'm not even going to say it's not even all that. Look, I still think Nathaniel Hackett is terrible, so it doesn't really matter.
But he gets along with Aaron.
No, but that's the thing. Aaron's your offensive coordinator.
Important. Yes.
Like, Aaron's the offensive coordinator. And as long as he's not hurt in the sense of, like, all right, you got to shut it down and he's going to be watching all the games from home, as long as he's there helping or do the actual coaching, they'll be okay.
Yeah. We go over to Jim Sleazy. Shout out. Luke McCaffrey? Dot is excited for that? I'm disgusted they drafted him. So Jim Sleazy, not a fan of Luke McCaffrey in that selection. K-Dot, the floor is yours.
Trying to be positive about things, right? So I'm going to take that disgusting as like some sexual kinky shit. Yeah.
That's unbelievable with the glove on already.
Yes, I'm excited about Luke McCaffrey. As you should be. Look, that's the other thing. Like, doing the fantasy football draft, our league that we participate both in, we just drafted a few days ago or last week. But when you're doing all the kind of looking around as far as the fantasy stuff, what I really, really enjoyed was listening to enough people like all across the landscape, all saying that Luke McCaffrey kid might be a guy you need to stash. That Luke McCaffrey cat might be somebody you need to kind of just keep right there, right? Like, even when you saw the lack of him seeing with the first team in the preseason, and you see the first depth chart get released, and you're like, oh, he's there. Yeah. The motherfucker's
not just there. He's listed number 2.
He's going to be around. And I'm telling you, When you got a dude who's trying to work on throwing across the middle more, the best thing you can do as far as that confidence level is throw the ball to somebody that ain't going to drop it. 100% success rate for us catching bitches. The dude is a slam dunk. That's where you look at the Zach Ertz of it all. The Ben Sennett maybe down the road. The Luke McCaffrey. Sure hands that a dude. Jayden can look pre-snap. I'm going there with the ball. Do it. Success. That's all it takes.
That's all it takes. I am getting very, very excited for Luke McCaffrey over here. Yeah, he seems like the real deal. We go over to Cody Rin, shout out. HTTR Redskins has left the chat. It's quote and unquote. Do not see HTTR Redskins here. Don't see Coach Lombard here. We may have scared Coach off, unfortunately, last week. I was just out of gas, man. Hour 22 in. See this enormous comment. I'm not about to read it, man. So,
Coach, you're right back in the frame if you just curse him out. He should have been prepared. He should have had water.
I should have. I do have water, and I do have a Jess Santo comment.
That does not excuse you for trying to be Jess Santo, Coach.
And conclude with Jess Santo.
We can paraphrase.
Shout out. Hopefully everyone had a good Labor Day weekend. It is upon us. It feels like this week would never come. If you would have told me 5 years ago that Snyder would sell the team, I would have called bullshit. But look at us now. A new ownership group with a commitment to excellence, community, and class. A cutting-edge new front office led by a highly respected GM. A coaching staff founded on experience, hard work, teaching, leadership, and integrity. A stud young quarterback who could potentially end the 40-year drought, 40-year drought of a franchise player at the position. We lost our name and logo during the process. It reminds me of the Thanos meme. What did it cost to get rid of Snyder? Everything. The amount of change we just witnessed this franchise go through is unprecedented. Cherish the past, but embrace the future. Commanders football is back. Salute. Let's crack some fucking pirate skulls. Raise hail. Hail yeah. Left hand up. Big dicks and battleships. Share this shit. That is the latest masterpiece from Jess Santo. K-Dot, your reaction.
Jess.
Look at us. Hey, look at us. Look at us. Huh? Who would have thought? Not me.
Not me either, bud. Not me either.
Even said, but look at us now. I immediately thought of that. I mean, it's a beautiful comment, Jess. No notes. It was brilliant. I can't wait. And this was the show. This was District Divided, a DC sports podcast, more specifically a Washington Commanders podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening to the very first preview episode of the regular season. That's all brand new. I'm Amit. That's K-Dot. Thanks for listening. And if you enjoyed the episode, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, comment as you always do, and K-Dot.
Share the shit. Share it. Share the shit.
Share this shit, please. We greatly appreciate you guys as always. First time in a while, K-Dot, after the pod begins right now. It has been a while. And we got Ravens Chiefs tonight. So at the time of recording, you guys are seeing this Friday, 2 p.m., of course. But at the time of recording, we got Ravens Chiefs tonight. Who do you like in the game?
Toss up for me. I think I have a little bit of dough on the Ravens to win.
Okay. Money line or spread?
I think it was
money line.
I think it was the spread. I think it was a spread. Yeah, it was I think I got Ravens like +3.5 or something at one point.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure. I'd have to look at it. I don't even know what app I use. I'm
curious to see. I'm excited for this game for a couple of reasons. I mean, 3 reasons. 1, football's back. Thank God.
Big
2, Mahomes gets Xavier Worthy to go along with Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce. It's banner night. Kelce didn't play last banner night against the Lions because he tweaked his knee, if you remember. So do they try and put on a show at home? That's 2.
Mm-hmm.
And 3, there was a recent article that came out where Lamar talks about, hey, if my legs were good last season, we win that AFC Championship game. Concludes it with, fuck throwing the ball. He wants to run. And I think he said that this game is just like any other. but knowing the competitor he is, he will do anything to beat these guys tonight. And if it means running 50 plus times and he even runs 20 times, it won't happen. But to the point, like, he will do anything is sort of the point.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what Todd Monken decides to do this time around, because it was criminal. They only ran 6 times. Enter Derrick Henry 4-2 against the Chiefs lifetime with the Tennessee Titans. It's crazy. I mean, I cannot wait for this game, K-Dot. It's going to be great.
I mean, the Ravens are my number 1 seed in the AFC as far as my prediction going in, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's the thing. It could go a lot of different ways. Like, I'm not one to bet against Mahomes. I'm like, usually you won't see me do that. But the thing with this is that I look at a Kansas City Chiefs team that's like, we don't have to win 14 games to win a Super Bowl. Like, that's what I like. I look at those guys like kind of like, yeah, if we're 11-6 or something, we're fine. Like, that's what I see from them. It's just one of those, like, I just don't think it'll be as pressing. So, like, I think for the Ravens, there is like a point to prove. Like, this is the rematch. Like, yeah, I'm here. Lamar trying to answer for why it is he lost all the weight coming into this season, right? To run and do whatever it is he's going to do. Derrick Henry trying to prove everybody, I don't give a shit what my age is. I'm still a man in these parts, right? Defensively, what are they going to be without Mike McDonald? Like, the Ravens feel like they got shit that they want to prove tonight. And I think the Chiefs are just like.
So I push back on that, just to be clear. I think the Chiefs have a lot to prove to the world, in my opinion, because I think they feel disrespected. I really do. So they are back-to-back Super Bowl champs, right? And a lot of the narrative last season is, well, it's dink and dunk. They can't catch. They can't do this. They can't do that. Bit of a fluky run. They did well, but, like, you know, if Lamar was okay, if they just didn't, you know, throw as much as they did, they would have won. And then in the Super Bowl, I feel like they got a bit lucky over there. Some people think. And Mahomes hasn't won an MVP in a little while. And for the caliber of player that he is, I think you give him a guy that, I can't remember if it was Andy Reid that said that Xavier Worthy's kind of like Deshaun Jackson. Like, you get that guy and Hollywood Brown, who will have his drops, just to be clear, that will happen this season. I think they want to put on a show this season. The one person I was debating for MVP outside of Jordan Love was Patrick Mahomes. Those are the only two I could see. I thought Lamar going back-to-back would be a bit of a stretch. It would be awesome. That's how dominant he would be. I think Mahomes is going to have an unreal year. I think the 1 seed matters to them. It was nice being on the road. Okay, cool. We can do that. Fuck that. We want to be at home. We want to have this entire thing run through Arrowhead. And we want an exclamation point on this three-peat that we just fucked everybody up. I think they're going to have a ridiculously good year.
No, I don't buy it. They won the Super Bowl. Like, it's like, you know, I don't think, like, I get there is something with the greats that always, like, have the chip on the shoulder to get somewhere else, right? So, like,
you remember quarterback? Anyway, sorry. I
get it. I trust me, I totally get it. And there's some off the field shit happening with Kansas City Chiefs that just look a little messy right now. But,
that's true.
But I think that, like, and look, the worst thing, like, if they see the off the field shit getting a little messy, it's like, what cures all of this? Winning. No one's going to talk about any of this shit if we're just winning, right? But I think some of it's just going to come anyway. The main person I look at is being a person who, just listening to him talk, is a dude who, like, look, I like what they've done as far as the wide receiving core. There's, on paper going into this season, the best wide receiving core they've had since Hill left, right? Mm-hmm. I like Rashee Rice a ton. Yeah. I love Isaiah Pacheco in the back.
Yes, you do. Congrats on drafting him.
Thank you.
Oh, no, you didn't. Not in that league, anyway.
No.
Pacheco
no, I
got
don't
taken.
have Pacheco.
But I know how high you were. I know how high you are.
Very high on Pacheco.
Yeah.
I ended up getting fucking Travis Etienne.
That's right.
The which apparently is a good pick. I don't know. But the look, at the end of the day, the guy who has been the focal point for them is Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
And I think Kelce is the guy who I'm squarely looking at and being like, he don't care right now. Like, I don't think he gives a shit right now. And I don't blame him, because he's looking at, like, how old he is. He's already knowing that, like, the end's coming soon. And I've got to save myself for this playoff run that I know we're going to be a part of, right? It's not taking anything for granted, of course. But I think what we were going to see this tonight or yesterday, what you would have seen yesterday is whether or not the Chiefs and their new wide receiving core are actually going to be something that starts out quick. I think there will probably be some growing pains there. I think there'll probably be some slow-ish start. It's the same thing like last year, right? Like they had the receivers and this, like, it takes a little bit for them to gel. Sometimes you get Mahomes, especially early on in the season, which is something that I've always been kind of critical of him, is always looking for the home run, not really taking what the defense gives him.
Yep. I think it's going to happen.
It's
yesterday.
But the thing is, what I'm looking at is the Ravens defense is just not anybody you can do anything to. Like, it's not. That's what I'm looking
their
at
first time with I believe his name is Zach, or like that's their new D coordinator. I know it's continuity within.
It's continuity, and it's the Ravens fucking defense. Right. And like, I'm sorry, the Ravens are not the team that I think is your get right game or your, hey, I prove that I'm the MVP against you game.
We'll see.
I think the Chiefs will get there, but I'm also reminded that, like, look, every once in a while there's just some first few weeks shit just looks bad.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So I'm always trying to constantly remind myself, but although every once in a while you get a classic, you get an absolute shootout classic or something that happens, right? But I don't know. It could go either way. I love the Chiefs. They are my Super Bowl pick. But once again, the Ravens are my number one seed, and I think they gotta win games like this to eventually lose in the playoffs.
Okay, so final pick before we head out here. You got Ravens or Chiefs tonight?
I'm picking the Ravens.
Picking the Ravens?
I'd love to just say they'll cover.
Yeah. No, fair. Because then, yeah. I've got the Chiefs. I'm rooting hard for the Ravens, though. I love the Ravens. I love the way the team's built. I love Lamar. Like, I still think he gets an insane amount of disrespect from people.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah. So I'm rooting for the Ravens. I think the Chiefs, though. I think this time around, it'll be the Chiefs. Rashee Rice is a known quantity as well this year versus last year. He was a rookie. So I just
think he's better.
He's a lot better. That's true.
That's my thing. I just think he's better. It's not, it's just some of these dudes who take the next leap and you're like, oh, this guy's a dude. It's the same way I feel about like Nico Collins in Houston. It's like you're a dude and you're going to be more of a dude, right? And we're Rashee pretty much knowing that all the shit he did off the field, which probably he shouldn't be playing, but that it doesn't look like anything's going to happen as far as any ramifications anytime soon. Yeah. I just think he gets to go out there and just ball.
That's true. Helps take his mind off it, I suppose. Any final thoughts before we head out here, Kata?
Just excited for the football games to be started. I'm super excited to watch the Friday game or tonight's game if you're watching when we release.
Yep.
Seeing two teams that don't want to be in fucking Brazil have to play in Brazil.
I got the Packers in that one.
Against.
We'll see.
I'm rooting against both of them. So.
All right. Well, we appreciate you guys for listening. Thanks so much. And we'll see you hopefully on Shades Monday. But we'll see you regardless on Monday.
Forgot about the shades. Got to get my shades ready.
Forget about the shades, baby.
Well, I mean, I'll have shades ready. You'll just be over there just doing your lines and
no. Oh my gosh.
Or maybe your eyes will hurt.
Life of its own. What'd you say?
Your eyes will be like bloodshot and hurt.
Oh, you think that's why we do shades?
Might be why you do shades.
That's not why I do shades or lines. Don't do lines for the last time. That's an A-Train fictitious character thing.
And I'm just getting started. The amount of cocaine videos I have.
Yeah, I was going to say, you just dropped the second one too. Oh boy, it's going to be a long season.
I was going to save it, but I'm like, I got 5 others. It's like K-Dot. It's like the real K-Dot.
You're going to make me learn editing just to like counteract this. I need to come up with a fictitious character that takes on a life of its own.
I'm the Reverend.
Progresses. Reverend is good.
Trust me, you could go a lot of different ways with the Reverend.
I'll begin thinking about that. All right. We'll see you guys.
Bye, everybody.
In DC, we're just hoping that you listen.